Welcome, MMO fans, to 1 week later. For those who don't know, I sit down with an MMO for 1 week and see if it's still fun. This week's MMO was Eden.eternal. Eden.eternal is a heavily anime-inspired MMO with a lot of really interesting twists. I'll get onto those later, but for right now, let's look at character customization. This game has a pretty solid number of customization options. The races are by far one of the most extensive things I've seen in any free MMO. You can choose between playing as a regular human, a frog, a mouse, or even like a bear thing. None of those appeal to you? How about a midget? All in all, it feels much more varied than most MMOs that have like human and then pointy-eared human called elf. Classes are pretty unique too. You start out with a collection of 5 and then you get more as you play the game. I can hear you on the other side of my monitor saying, Kudou, what do you mean you can get more as you play the game? Trust me, I'm going to explain. Last little bit is if you'll notice on the left side of the screen, there's a bunch of different items here. They have parasols and all kinds of other things. These items are cash shop items. When you're making your character, you can go through and try on a bunch of different cash shop items to see what they're going to look like later in the game. Those sneaky geniuses! The art style is pretty phenomenal. The character models look very well proportioned. It's got kind of a chibi dot hack thing going on. I don't know if it's just me, but I do really enjoy it. Getting back to the main pool of the game, when you start out, you choose between one of 5 classes. The fun thing here, and the thing I really wish other MMOs would catch on, is your one character can switch between any of the classes at will. This feature is ingenious, and you have no idea how much fun I had switching between the classes. As if that's not enough, the game sports over 10 other classes you can unlock through the course of the game. These classes are unlocked by getting some of your base classes to specific levels. This is a very clever way to get you to experiment with multiple classes. There is one other element that makes characters feel unique when you're customizing. When you're making your character, you choose something called a heroic trait. This is a small stat boost that stays with your character regardless of which class you're playing as. For example, I play as a Luminary. The Luminary class uses a lot of magic, but also swordsmanship. My heroic trait, though, is attack speed. If you also made a Luminary, but chose something that gave you magic damage, then you would do slightly more magic damage than I did, and I would attack faster than you. Quest system is a little janky. There's a cash shop item called a portal stone that'll port you to wherever you need to be in your next quest. I accidentally turned on the option that lets you use portal stones, and then whenever I tried to automatically direct myself somewhere, it just told me that I didn't have any portal stones. This made me think for a while that I needed portal stones in order to get to my next quest objective, or I wasn't in the right area, when all I had to do was turn the option off so that my redirecting would work again. I know it's a minor gripe, especially because it's my fault for turning the option on. It was just kind of strange that it didn't let me know. The leveling system works like this. You have 2 different levels. Your player level, which is your base level, and then your class level. Your class level levels way faster than your base level does, but your class level can't go above your base level. So for example, right here I leveled my Luminary up to the same class as my base level. Since I couldn't level it any higher until my base level went up, I went ahead and switched classes. This is a great reward for leveling different classes. You could just stick to one class the entire game, but then you're wasting a bit of experience. But if you're only ever going to play as one class, this system is wasted, right? Wrong. When you're leveling a class, you get something called a seal. Seals are different for every class and gets higher as that class level raises. Let's say, for example, you're playing as a warrior and you get to level 10. So now you decide to switch over to being a thief. The warrior seal increases your damage by 15. So you put this seal on your thief, and now your thief is naturally stronger. It has a plus 15 damage boost. Little touches like that are ridiculously good for a free-to-play game. I hold up Final Fantasy XIV as my favorite current-gen MMO, and this comes darn close to it. That is an amazing feat for a free-to-play MMORPG. Oh, and one more thing, each class gets their own individual skill bar. You can assign whatever skills, potions, whatever you want to your current skill bar, and it'll be saved. That way when you switch into the class next time, it'll save your UI so nothing changes. Again, an amazing amount of refinement for a free-to-play MMO. The monsters don't have very much health, so they go down pretty quickly, but there's always enough of them that the combat never feels boring. Chaining together constant kills nets you a lot of experience and is genuinely pretty fun. If you're really getting bored of fighting the monsters, then try fighting them as a new class. New class means new skills and new strategies. You might be able to see here that I have a pet bird, because every free-to-play MMO has to have a pet system now. And what do you expect? The pet system is pretty tacked on. The pet really doesn't do any damage. Then again, I'm not going to knock off points for an added feature unless it's so bad that it hurts the game experience. There was nothing wrong with having a pet bird follow me around, it just didn't add anything to the experience. There are a few bugs in this game. I think the best example is this portal I was supposed to use to get back to my original area. I was given a quest to come here to these woods to kill some monsters, and then when I killed them I tried to use the portal to go back. Nothing. I know it's a portal that I could use because I used it to get here in the first place. So I had to run around and kill monsters for half an hour until it decided to fix itself out of nowhere. Also, these swords I'm using are a special weapon called the Lumineer. Lumineer is a special sword you get for being a luminary. When I switch to a different class, the new class uses the Lumineer just fine, so I figured I could just use them as regular swords. But when I unequipped them and tried to re-equip them, it told me that I could only equip Lumineer as a luminary. That's a little weird. I could completely understand if it's just a luminary-only weapon, but if I switch back to luminary, equip Lumineer, and then switch to another class, it wears Lumineer just fine. So either it's a bug that I can wear Lumineer on other classes, or it's a bug that I can't equip Lumineer on other classes. Either way, it's kind of annoying. Last thing I'll talk about is dungeon adventures. Once again, I did the dungeons by myself with absolutely no trouble, even though it recommended I have 4 players. When did it become a thing that free MMOs have to have super easy dungeons? I can tell you for a fact that by myself I could not do a World of Warcraft instance unless I was super high level. The bosses are at least a little tough, and the dungeons themselves look pretty nice. I just wish they were a little more challenging. The monsters outside are already too easy. When I come into the dungeon, I expect some kind of challenge. I go into a dungeon for higher challenge, better loot. They have the better loot thing down, but not so much the challenge. All in all, whether you're a seasoned MMO veteran who's looking for a new game to play, or a newcomer to MMOs who's looking for something to try out, this game is a must. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I will definitely be playing this game past this 1-week review. Between the perfect class system, the good-looking world, and the pretty awesome kill chain battle system, Area Games has something really special here that all MMO lovers should try out at least once. If you've played Eden Eternal, then go ahead and leave me some thoughts or stories in the comments section below. Or you could use the comments to suggest what game I should play next. If you enjoyed this analysis, then leave me a thumbs up. Likes always help. Last but not least, subscribe to stay up to date on the latest Kudou news. See you next week, gamers! Whew, glad that video's over with. I'm gonna play me some Eden Eternal.